The first thing Noah noticed was the candle flickering across the empty table, its small flame trembling like it knew something he didn't. The restaurant in Denver buzzed softly around him, clinking glasses, muffled laughter, forks tapping porcelain, yet his corner felt painfully still, almost staged, like the quiet before a heartbreak he'd already lived through too many times. He checked his watch again. 37 minutes late. Another blind date gone wrong. Another reminder that maybe love simply wasn't something meant for him anymore. But just as he pushed back his chair to leave, a tiny hand tugged on his sleeve, and a little boy with winter blush cheeks looked up at him and said, "My mommy's sorry she's late." And just like that, the air shifted. The flame steadied. And Noah's entire world paused. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the unexpected moments that change everything, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support truly helps stories like this continue. For a moment, Noah didn't know what to say. The little boy, no older than 3, stood wobbling slightly on the ground, his wide blue eyes fixed on him with innocent certainty, as if he had just solved the whole problem of the universe by delivering his message. Noah slowly sat back down, unsure whether to laugh or panic. Before he could ask anything, the boy gestured to the empty seat across from him, insisting he stay. That was when a breathless woman hurried through the restaurant doors, brushing snowflakes from her hair and scanning the room with visible worry. Her name, Noah would later learn, was Claire. In that moment, all he saw was the mixture of apology and exhaustion softening her face as she reached them. She thanked Noah for waiting, though he technically hadn't had a choice once her son had claimed the chair for him. She explained that her babysitter had cancelled last minute, and with a week of long shifts at the hospital weighing on her shoulders, she simply couldn't scramble fast enough to find a replacement. Her voice carried that subtle tremble of someone doing their best not to unravel. Noah felt something shift inside him, something gentle, something patient, something he hadn't felt in a very long time. As they settled at the table, Noah expected awkwardness, maybe formal conversation, maybe the usual first date stiffness. Instead, what filled the space was the warmth of something real. Claire told him she hadn't meant to bring her son, Lucas, but she also didn't want to cancel because her sister had insisted this blind date might finally be the good kind of different. Noah wasn't used to being described as anyone's good kind of anything, but he let the words rest in the quiet between them. He found himself listening more deeply than he'd listened to anyone in years. He watched the way Claire's eyes softened when Lucas giggled, and the way her tired hand still moved with a gentleness that revealed the kind of mother she was even before she spoke about the long nights, the balancing act, the fear of letting life move too fast. Time began to stretch in an almost cinematic way, the snowy glow from outside mixing with the warm amber lighting of the restaurant. Lucas eventually curled up in the booth beside Claire with a coloring sheet from the waiter, leaving Noah and Claire space to talk. She spoke of her dreams before life forced her to rearrange them. He spoke of the loneliness that had settled into his routine after losing his father, and how dating had become a series of polite disappointments. Yet somehow, in this unexpected trio, things didn't feel disappointing. They felt honest. Unpolished. Human. The biggest challenge for Noah wasn't that Claire had a child, it was confronting the part of himself that feared opening the door to hope again. He had built walls, tall and sturdy, convincing himself that hurt couldn't reach him if he never invited anything in. But as he watched Claire trying not to fall apart from fatigue, as Lucas reached out to offer him a crayon with complete trust, Noah wondered if maybe the walls were less protection and more prison bars. Maybe he'd been waiting for something that looked nothing like what he expected. When dinner ended, Noah walked them to their car. Claire apologized again for the chaos of the evening, but Noah surprised even himself by saying it was the best date he'd been on in years. She looked at him then, really looked, and something in her expression flickered with the same hope he felt in his chest. She told him she wasn't sure if she could promise anything more than honesty and effort, and Noah said that maybe honesty and effort were exactly what he'd been searching for all along. Days passed. Then weeks. And slowly, Noah found himself woven into their little world. He helped Claire shovel snow after storms. He joined Lucas for Saturday morning pancakes where half the batter ended up on the counter. He sat with Claire on her porch late at night, sipping warm tea while she talked about the weight she carried and the fear of never being enough. Noah didn't fix anything. He wasn't there to rescue anyone. He just stayed, steady, patient, gentle, the way no one had stayed for him when life fractured. But life, as it always does, tested them. Claire received news that her hospital was downsizing, and her position was at risk. Stress crept into her voice. Fatigue carved deeper into her eyes. She began pulling away, convinced that tying someone else to her struggles was unfair. Noah felt the distance immediately, felt the cold edges of fear whispering that maybe this was the moment everything fell apart. But rather than leave, rather than assume rejection, he showed up. He helped with bills when she refused, by buying groceries instead. He entertained Lucas so she could attend job interviews. He wrote her small notes reminding her that strength wasn't the absence of struggle but the courage to continue through it. And one night, after Lucas had fallen asleep on Noah's shoulder during movie time, Claire whispered that she didn't understand why he stayed. Noah answered quietly that sometimes God sends us people not to change our path, but to walk it with us. Claire didn't respond with words. She simply rested her head against his arm, and in that moment, Noah realized he was no longer afraid of hope. Months later, Claire found a new job. Lucas began calling Noah his best grown-up friend. And one snowy evening, exactly 1 year after their chaotic blind date, Noah took Claire and Lucas back to the same restaurant where everything had begun. The candle on the table flickered just like before, but this time the flame did not tremble. It glowed steady and warm and full of promise. Noah didn't make a grand speech. He simply looked at the two people who had unknowingly walked into his life and filled it with purpose, and he silently thanked God for a little boy who had tugged his sleeve and changed everything. If this story touched your heart, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these emotional stories alive. Before we end, tell me in the comments, do you believe that the best moments in life are the unexpected ones?